Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Roach Jeffrey. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our video. We've got a Sonic blockbuster game in college basketball on Saturday night in the SEC with the Tennessee Volunteers traveling on the road to the Alabama Crimson Tide. This is a much better Sonic blockbuster game than last Saturday's Sonic blockbuster between Carolina and Virginia. That was an ugly basketball game to watch. But if you like offense, this is the game for you. More than likely, this game should reach the 80s and possibly even the 90s in points because of how dynamic that the Alabama Crimson Tide are on offense. And since their defense isn't all that great, plus how hot Dalton Knecht is right now for Tennessee, the Volunteers should be putting up a lot of points as well. I'm going to preview and predict who I believe is going to win this battle for the SEC between Tennessee or Alabama. So let's get into it. The reason I call it the battle for the SEC is because both Tennessee and Alabama are atop the SEC standings at 12-3 in the league. So whoever wins this game has the inside track to win the conference this season. Doesn't mean that they are guaranteed to win it. There's still a couple games left. But more than likely, whoever wins this game will be able to win the SEC conference. Both Tennessee and Alabama are playing excellent basketball this season. Bama's 20-8. Tennessee is 22-6. But Tennessee, even though they already knocked off the Alabama Crimson Tide earlier this season, that was on their own floor. Now they're having to go on the road to Tuscaloosa, and that is a tough environment to play in, especially with Nate Oats now at head coach for Alabama. He has made Alabama one of the better basketball teams in the SEC, despite the fact Alabama is the biggest of football schools. That is very tough to do, to make your basketball team solid when you are such a football school, but Alabama is a great basketball team. They're being given a 63% chance to win this game. Rick Barnes, to a lesser extent, has made Tennessee a great basketball school as well, even though they are known predominantly as a football school as well, even though Bruce Pearl was also paramount in making Tennessee a much more competitive basketball team back in the late 2000s. But Tennessee, the reason why they are such a fantastic team is because Dalton Knecht is on fire right now. He's probably not going to win College Basketball Player of the Year. It's going to go to Zach Edey again, I would believe, but Dalton Knecht is making a serious argument. He just put up 39 points in Tennessee's last win over the Auburn Tigers. I thought that would be a tough game for Tennessee to win because Tennessee having to play at Alabama in their very next game after playing Auburn at home, maybe they were looking ahead a little bit to this game, but Tennessee did not. Dalton Knecht was on fire. He was able to knock off the Auburn Tigers. I did pick Tennessee to win that game, and they got it done. But Dalton Knecht, he's a solid rebounder as well, but he's shooting a scorching 41% from three, and what makes that so impressive is because everybody's keying in on him. Everybody's guarding him, doing everything they possibly can to prevent him from knocking down threes. He's taking difficult shots, and he's shooting at a high volume, but he's still shooting that well from three. Dalton Knecht is definitely worthy of being a first-round draft pick, if not a lottery pick, in this year's NBA draft. Jonas Aidoo's averaging 12 points per game and 8 boards. Zakai Ziegler averaging 11 points and 6 assists. He sets up Dalton Knecht and the rest of the Tennessee Volunteers roster up very well. Josiah Jordan-James, Jordan Gainey, and Santiago Vescovi do not get enough credit for Tennessee, though. The reason why this basketball team has the potential to be the first Rick Barnes-led Tennessee Volunteer squad to make a deep run in the NCAA tournament is because they've got 3 guys with so much experience, and 2 of them in Josiah Jordan-James and Santiago Vescovi, that have been with the program for several seasons now. That makes this basketball team so much more experienced, much more deep, and Santiago Vescovi's kind of taking a back seat this season. He's averaged more points in previous seasons at Tennessee. He's not averaging as much this year, but he doesn't mind because he is sacrificing individual accolades and his individual performances for the good of the team, and that shows you the type of culture that Rick Barnes has down there in Knoxville, Tennessee. Toby Awaka is averaging 5 points per game and 4 boards, and Jamad Mashak's averaging 4 points per game as well. They have a very deep squad. They're averaging 80 points per game. They're shooting 35% from three as a team, which is very solid. And as you can see as well, also what makes Tennessee very dangerous is that they are only giving up 67 points per game on defense. Tennessee is one of the better defensive teams in the SEC, whereas if you look at Alabama, they're scoring 92 points per game, but they're giving up a whopping 79 points per game on defense to opposing teams. That's not all that good. The only reason Alabama's winning games is because their offense is that dangerous. Alabama and Kentucky are very similar teams in the fact that they have great offenses, but their defenses sometimes let them down. Mark Sears averaging 20 points per game, 4 boards, and 4 assists. Very dynamic guard in the SEC. He's shooting 44% from 3. Mark Sears and Dalton Knecht are two of the most dynamic guards in the SEC. They're very fun to watch. So again, this is the game for you. If you love watching offense, Mark Sears should be lighting it up on Saturday night. Aaron Estrada is averaging 13 points per game. Grant Nelson averaging 12 points and 6 boards. He is locking down the front court for the Crimson Tide. He's a solid player, but I do believe that's where Alabama's weaknesses lies, that they don't really have a true center down there to really slow down some of the other bigs in the SEC. But Grant Nelson is still a good player. Rylan Griffin averaging 11 points per game and 4 boards. And then Latrell Wright, so Nick Pringle, Sam Walters, and Jared Stevenson all contribute at a fairly high level for the Alabama Crimson Tide, which gives them plenty of options to help them score that 92 points per game. Then they shoot 38% from 3 as a team and 79% at the line. So they are a better shooting team than the Tennessee Volunteers, probably why they average more points than Tennessee does. And then when you look at the series history recently, Tennessee has won the last 2 games against Alabama, including that win earlier this season at home. But those 2 games were both in Knoxville, Tennessee. The last time Tennessee did play at Alabama, they did lose in Tuscaloosa, showing how tough of an environment Alabama is. Then when you look at the bracket matrix, Tennessee is a 2 seed, Alabama is a 3 seed. So both teams are in great shape for the NCAA tournament. But who do I believe is going to win this Sonic Blockbuster top 15 matchup battle for the SEC on Saturday night? If you look at Alabama, they've won 4 of their last 5 games. Tennessee has won all 5 of their last games, including a very impressive win over the Auburn Tigers at home. Alabama's only loss is at Kentucky, so that's not too bad of a loss. I will say that Tennessee is on fire right now, but that can work against a team, though. Sometimes when you are on a big hot streak and you are rolling, you can just hit a brick wall, and Alabama could be Tennessee's brick wall. The last time they played at Alabama, they were not able to win. They've already beaten Alabama this year, so Alabama might want to get revenge on the Tennessee Volunteers. Plus, Dalton Knecht is such an important player for Tennessee that if he doesn't have a massive game, they do lose sometimes. Look at the Auburn game. They only beat Auburn by 8 points, even though he had 39 points, kind of like how R.J. Davis had 42 points the other night for North Carolina, but they barely beat the Miami Hurricanes. So Tennessee, even though they are a great team, they have depth with Santiago Vescovi, Josiah Jordan James, and other guys. If Dalton Knecht does not have a big game, Tennessee will not win in Tuscaloosa, and they're going to need him to score probably 30 to 35 points at least to have any shot to win because of how many points Alabama is going to end up scoring. The last time Tennessee lost was at Texas A&M, and Texas A&M is a much inferior opponent to Alabama, but Tennessee could not win because Dalton Knecht did not have a great game. I do believe that because Dalton Knecht is coming off a massive performance, he might come back down to earth a bit in this one. I believe Mark Sears is going to have a huge matchup for Alabama. The Crimson Tide have so much depth to be able to match Tennessee's depth, and they are playing good basketball right now. Their defense concerns me. I do believe that if Alabama's defense allows Dalton Knecht to get hot, score a lot of points, kind of like he did in the first matchup this year between these two teams, then I do believe that Alabama could end up losing this game at home. But I do believe at the end of the day that the Alabama Crimson Tide are going to find a way to be able to not get swept by Tennessee and knock off the Volunteers 85-82. I believe the home crowd is going to be just enough for the Crimson Tide. I do think Dalton Knecht might have one of those games where he struggles a little bit. Maybe he only scores in the high teens to low 20s and he's not putting up 30 to 35 points. And I think that even though Alabama's defense does struggle, they're going to be able to slow down the Tennessee Volunteers just enough, and Alabama's scorching hot offense will be able to score just enough for Nate Oats' squad to be able to take full control in the SEC standings by getting this win over the Tennessee Volunteers. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Who you think is going to win this battle of the SEC? Whether you think Tennessee can go on the road and knock off the Alabama Crimson Tide, or whether you believe that Alabama will be able to avoid a season sweep of Tennessee and take a lead in the SEC standings with a massive home win over the top 5 ranked Tennessee Volunteers. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I'll see you next time.